Coram set the report down and looked at the other two people in the room. Professor Quantum seemed bored, which was neither a surprise nor a slight. He always appeared to be some level of disinterested, when there were no cameras around, at least. For a man with his intellect, meetings like this probably felt like time-wasting torture. And yet, he still came. They'd all seen what happened when the Champions Congress drifted apart, and it was a mess they were working daily to clean up. Lodestar, on the other hand, appeared engaged. While she was in costume, her power wasn't currently activated, meaning she had chestnut-colored hair and lacked the signature glow that often surrounded her. It made her less distracting, which Coram appreciated during these private meetings. She was flipping through the handouts Coram had made, looking over the figures their PR department had brought around to them this morning. "We're still a long way from where we were in the public's eye," Lodestar noted.
"One of the AHC's leaders was put on public trial for colluding with a villain, planting evidence and partially causing a citywide brawl. Add in that it came to light we've been secretly letting criminals out of jail, and I'm amazed we've made such strides of recovery at all."
Lodestar didn't bother to correct Professor Quantum about the fact that, legally, that part wasn't on the AHC, mostly because it didn't matter. Technically, the government had created the Orion Protocol, a caveat in the law that allowed convicted villains their freedom if they assisted in stopping potentially world-ending threats. But the government wasn't the face of keeping metahuman peace. That honor and burden had been thrust upon the alliance of heroic champions, and they were the ones at the center of the scandal when the truth came out.
"On that note, I have an order of business to raise."
Professor Quantum stood as he spoke, a habit from the older days when there had been more spectacle and protocol to these meetings. Despite being the oldest metahuman in the room, in fact, Professor Quantum was the first known metahuman at all, as his experiment had allowed new elements into the world, altering the laws of science as they'd then been understood. He never looked older than a man in his early 40s. Twin streaks of gray ran along the otherwise dark hair at his temples, and his glowing blue eyes were hidden behind a pair of spectacles that did far more than correct poor vision, which he didn't have. As always, he wore the same outfit, a dark, tailored suit under a crisp white lab coat that floated out behind him.
"As you both know, earlier this week my latest experiments arrived in Ridge City. Since we had the impending spaceship to deal with, I tabled the issue. However, now that the threat has passed, I'd like to discuss how we are going to manage their debut."